Hello, today we will paint this tank in the most unique camouflage I have ever seen on YouTube. That means that for now it's time for the most interesting part of this work. Of course I'm talking about painting. First I clean the model of all traces, including fingerprints. For this I use diluted 96% alcohol. It works great, almost as well as soapy water, but the alcohol evaporates very quickly, and you can start painting the model right away. I prime the model with simple black paint. There is no point in explanating this further. But the next step, namely applying the base color to the tank, I think requires some explanation. Because many might think, "Hey, no quality, why are you painting the tank the color of a green frog? It looks unnatural, Germany didn't have tank of that color." And I'll say, guys, you are wrong. I found an interesting camouflage pattern on the internet. This camouflage was used in 1945, and according to the online source, such a tank was found in Czechoslovakia in 1945. While I was telling the story about the tank, the base color dried sufficiently, and now I can start applying the camouflage. At first, I tried to apply this camouflage using an airbrush, but unfortunately my airbrush isn't designated for such fine work. So, as usual, brushes come to my rescue. To start, I outline the lines of this camouflage. As a guide, I use the same picture from the internet. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you because I'm afraid of copyright issue. So just Google Panther tank Czechoslovakia 1945 and you will see this line camouflage. Overall, this camouflage is simple, but I haven't seen it used by any YouTuber. In fact, I couldn't find any picture of this Panther online, I mean in scale model. And this was like a stroke of genius for me. Everyone is already tried of the standard Panther camouflage or the standard Panther camouflage plus Cimerit. I think everyone on YouTube has already done that. But I haven't seen this kind of camouflage anywhere. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. Maybe my internet search skill need improvement. For now I can say that it's turning out quite well. The only issue might be that the lines are a bit too close to each other, which slightly ruins the tank's appearance. Also, I made a small mistake by applying the same line pattern to the upper part of the hull, where camouflage usually wasn't applied, or at least not always. Specifically, this line pattern shouldn't be there, so I will need to correct that later. Overall, there is not much to explain about this line. This is the result from the left side of the tank. I don't think there is any point in showing you the right side, because it will be same. The only thing I will mention is that I apply the lines in a slightly different way on the barrel, the gun mantlet and the front part of the tank. Now we can move on to applying the decals. I have to say, once again, for a second model from China, the decals look simply amazing. I mean, they are standard decals, like the ones you get from Tamiya, Rebel or any other company. I don't see any difference. Of course, it's not 3D decals, but it's very good decals. However, I decided to apply these decals in a somewhat unconventional way. Yes, I understand that some of you might say, "Hey, no quality, what is this nonsense? The decals shouldn't look like that, and they can't be placed in that part of the turret." But guys, I wanted to do it this way. I'll never claim it to aim for historical accuracy or position my channel as exclusively focused on accurate and historical dioramas. I just create dioramas in the way that I like. And I believe that's what creativity is all about, right? To prevent the decal from shining and to give them the same matte finish as the tank, I decided to coat the entire tank with a clear matte varnish. This step also prevents the paint from damage when we start chipping. After the varnish dried, the tank looked like this. Yes, I added a bit of green to the varnish to slightly tone down the camouflage. I think it was a good move. Now it's time to paint the details on the tank. I decided to start with the stowage. First, I painted the MG ammunition boxes in a grey-green color. There is nothing complicated here. This box came in different colors, but I choose this one. The only thing I'll need to do later is to add some wear and scratches to this box, because, as far as I understand, they didn't rust since they were made from an aluminum alloy or something similar. I used more grey color for painting the jerry cans, and after applying the base color, I decided to add white crosses to the jerry cans. At first glance, it might seem that I am applying them very sloppily, and it look awful, but trust me, this is my painting method. To make fine neat lines, I first make rough lines and then correct them. This method easier for me, because my hands shake a lot when I paint in small details, so I found a working method for myself. And I think this method works quite well. Now I can move on to adding various wear and scratches. Of course, these details are so small that it's difficult to apply high quality scratches on them, but the main thing is to add at least some wear to show the parts are worn out. When I finished adding wear to various small details, I decided to start painting other parts. First in line was this rope holding a piece of metal gear. I chose this gear because I didn't have any other option to decorate the turret. And hanging logs here, for example, would be illogical. On the internet, I saw that tankers often hang pieces of Panther tracks in the area where my number is located. I thought the tankers found a piece of thick gear in some garage and dedicated to use it as additional armor. As you know, even 5mm of armor is still armor. As for the rope, it was painted in a warm grey color. I think this color suits it perfectly and will make it stand out against the green turret. Now I need to leave this part to dry before painting the gear itself. While it dries, I switched my attention to painting various tarps and claws on the tank. The first was this small claws on the front fender of the tank. I decided to paint it dark red. I think it will contrast perfectly. For highlighting, I added a bit of Decals to the red and got this shade. Yes, it looked very bright, but again, I use my technique where I create bright edges and then use dry brushing to smooth out the effect. I hope I explained it that clearly. In my opinion, it looks quite good and doesn't spoil the model. I also decided to paint another tarp right away, and after leaving it to dry, I switched to the third tarp. As you can see, there is nothing complicated about these tarps, and I am showing these processes quickly because I paint them using my standard method, which I'll explain many times in all my videos. And actually, I don't see the point in dragging out the video by repeating the same thing. For the towing cable, I choose a dark rusty color. I think this is exactly how an old towing cable should look. Similar color with a bit of highlighting, I use it for painting gear. It will be further worked on later, but for now this is base color. And this is how my model looks after painting the main small details. Now it's time to start chipping. As usual, I first apply a light color to all the edges and sharp corner of the model. As I'll say it 1,000,001 times, this is necessary to give your model depth and volume, and so on and so on. I won't repeat myself further since I'll talk about this too much already. For the newcomers to my channel, don't worry if it doesn't look very good right now. This is my method of painting models, and believe me, it doesn't ruin the overall impression of the work. Everything I mentioned earlier I apply throughout the entire model. Every sharp edge and protruding part should be painted in lighter color. This also applies to the tracks. Now after it dries we have this look, and it's time to add a bit of rust. I didn't want to make the model too rusty, but I need to show that this tank is indeed scratched and rusty. The thing in which I envision it and want to place it in the next video should convey a heavy and unpleasant atmosphere. Therefore the tank should look heavy, unpleasant and somewhat battered, so that when you look at it you think, oh my god, how bad it look. I mean not bad in quality, but bad in condition. As you can see, after applying basic color and then chipping, these photo-etched parts look really good, despite not being perfectly sized for this tank. Overall, I think I made the right decision by adding this detail to the tank. So, if you decided to buy a similar tank from China, please use the photo-etched parts. If you are curious about which specific photo-etched part I used, please check the description of the video. I try to always list everything I use in the description. Now I decided to add additional rust to the side protective screens of the tank, and also apply the rust effect to the areas where the metal was bent. I think this gives my tank the exact effect I am aiming for and enhance my model. It can be said that I am satisfied with the rust effect. Yes, in some places I have overdone it, but overall it looks quite good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can finally move on to painting the exhaust pipes. This time I will correct all my mistakes and finally show a simple but really good way to paint them. For this I am using my favorite dry brush method and 3 rust colors. The first color is dark rust. The second color is light rust. And I obtained a darker color by mixing black and dark rust colors. I am more than satisfied with the result. I think it looked quite good. Also, some parts may not have been painted quite right. They shouldn't be as rusty. I am referring to the base of these exhaust pipes. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Honestly, this method seems more than sufficient for 1/72 scale models. As for me, I am moving on and tackling the paint of the tracks. Firstly, I painted all the necessary parts black. Then, using the same rust colors as for the exhaust pipes and the dry brushing method, I apply the rust effect to all tracks. But I'm not sure if these tracks look reasonable. I feel like I'll mess it up somewhere. But considering these tracks already looked awful, I don't think I made them worse. To finish them off, I decided to highlight the protruding parts with a silver color and start applying the wash to subsequently refine the tracks using dry pigments. My wash got a bit damaged this time, probably because it's scorching hot on my balcony. It's likely spoiled, but I can still use it this time. As usual, I use a wash made from oil paint, specifically a combination of gas soot and Van Dyke brown. I applied the wash randomly, and then everything gets fixed. The wash, besides creating interesting shadow, gives a dirt effect. Now you see a rusty, dirty, life-worn Panther tank stuck somewhere in a swamp. But to emphasize that it's stuck in a swamp, let's move on to applying dry pigments to the tank tracks. To ensure that the dry pigment adheres well to the model, I start by applying a diluted matte transparent lacquer. After applying the lacquer, I simply sprinkle dry pigment over all the tracks. It already looks pretty good, but as soon as you touch this pigment with your finger, it just falls off the model, so it needs to be fixed. To do this, I use heavily diluted matte lacquer with water. To speed up the drying process, I use hair dryer. That's the result we get. I think it looks really cool. If this helps someone, please use it. I'll be glad if I could help. I think it looks pretty good. And now it's time to complete this picture properly, by applying mud to the tracks. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you this process because my camera died at that moment. And there was no opportunity to charge battery. So I'll just show you the result of the work. Here is what it turned out for me. As you can see, the tracks are heavily soiled, because I wanted to create the effect of a very viscous swamp. You will see the swamp itself in the next video, but for now, let's just enjoy the sight of this model and the photos. I don't even know what to say, I am happy with the work. I hope you are satisfied with this work as I am and enjoyed watching this video. As always, please leave a thumb up, subscribe to the channel, and if you want, you can share this video with your friends. The more activity you show, I mean the more you place thumb up and comment this video, the faster I will make a new video, because it's simply fueled by your support. Well, that's it from me. As always, it was Vlad from the No Quality channel. Love you family, spend more time with your loved ones because it's important, and don't forget about the health of your pets. All the best to you, bye bye.